So as we continue to take a look at the first round of the 2020 Stanley Cup playoffs, we're taking a look in the Eastern Conference at a Metropolitan Division matchup, a matchup we've seen recently as we see the number 3 Washington Capitals take on the number 6 New York Islanders. We'll be taking a look at the details of this series, the head-to-head matchup, and of course, my predictions at the end. If you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey and want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below, and let's take a look at this Metropolitan Division matchup between the Islanders and the Caps. So as an Islander fan, I was sitting here pretty excited, if I gotta be honest, looking at who the Islanders had to match up in the third spot. It was going to be, going into yesterday, it was going to be either the Washington Capitals or the Boston Bruins. Now, they played a head-to-head game. It kind of was a sloppy game. The Washington Capitals ended up winning that game. But either way, the Islanders were going to be playing a team that had only won one of their 3 playoff games, which ended up working out pretty well for the Islanders. So we're going to be taking a look at how this series looks. I mean, the Washington Capitals went 1-1 in their round-robin series. And the leading point producer, you will not believe this, with 2 assists, defenseman Radko Gudas. Yes, Radko Gudas, leading goal scorer for the Washington Capitals in 3 games. Yikes. Why is that? Well, you look at the Washington Capitals. Alex Ovechkin held without a single point. Nicholas Backstrom with 1 assist. You see how this is an issue here for the Washington Capitals going into this series. Now, Tom Wilson looked pretty solid, specifically in that last game. He was kind of the star of the game against the Boston Bruins, and he looked pretty solid there for the Caps. Not to mention, Braden Holtby looked okay, but in those first 2 starts, he did definitely look a little bit shaky, and this is going to be a huge opportunity for him. If I got to be honest, this is a really, really interesting matchup and could go either way, obviously, but we're going to take a look at that. Obviously, the Islanders side of things, I mean, they just beat the Florida Panthers. They're riding on a high. They beat the Flyers, the Panthers, 2 games in a row. They just kind of solidified things, found a way to get things done. I really like what the Islanders have going into the series. They looked really solid. They really made the Florida Panthers play the Islanders game, and that really was an issue for the Florida Panthers, and they were never able to get out of that. Now they have a really tough task here. I mean, you talk about top line. The Islanders struggled a little bit against that Barkov, Hoffman, and Huberdeau line. Now you're looking at a line with Nick Backstrom, Ovechkin, and Jake Verana or Tom Wilson. That's a really tough top line there that the Islanders are going to have to deal with. We know Barry Trotz, the history with the Washington Capitals. He pretty much made Tom Wilson what he is, Braden Holtby, all those guys. So there's going to be a little bit of something there in between the lines. And this is going to be a great series. I mean, these are 2 teams. They met up a couple years ago. The Washington Capitals found a way to get things done. And they were also the team that shut down Nassau Coliseum the first time for the Islanders before they moved to Barclays Center. So the Islanders may be looking to get a little bit of revenge over the recent history they've had with the Capitals. We'll see if they could get that done this season. So let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think of this series? And now I'm going to give you my predictions. So if we're looking at both these teams, I mean, like I said, I think the goaltending is going to be critical. Now also remember, Semyon Varlamov started his NHL career with the Washington Capitals. That's actually the last time he played in the Stanley Cup playoffs was that long ago. He has not played with the Colorado Avalanche in his time there with the Avs. So this is going to be a return to the playoffs for a guy that used to play. I suppose his former team was the Washington Capitals. So this is going to be a great opportunity just to see how this works out, this dynamic. Samsonov being out for the Capitals definitely changes things as well. So Holtby maybe doesn't have as much pressure on him, and that may have been something in the qualification round that he just maybe he lacked a little motivation or didn't have as much pressure. But we'll see, because his contract is set to expire in November. I think he has something to play for. So in my predictions, who do I have winning this series? I think the New York Islanders win this series in 7 games. I think it's going to be a tough back and forth matchup. If the if the Washington Capitals offense doesn't get going, they're going to be stuck playing in the Islanders' way, and the Islanders will take advantage of their opportunities. We saw how they did that against the Florida Panthers. They didn't get a ton of opportunities every single game. Now, in that last game, they definitely started shooting the puck more, and they scored more goals, especially that Beauvillier goal. So the Islanders really looked to be turning a corner as the series was kind of moving along in that Panthers series. But if the Washington Capitals cannot put the puck in the back of the net, and the little bit of a shaky start we've seen so far from Braden Holtby, it definitely leads me to wonder, how are the Caps going to match up in this series? And I think it favors well for the Islanders. I think the Capitals have enough depth on that roster. The defense looks pretty solid, and obviously that power play is lethal. And I think in terms of special teams, back last series, the Islanders were not favored in that category, in any category, against the Florida Panthers, but they were able to actually capitalize better than the Florida Panthers in some of those categories. The Panthers' power play was pretty lethal in that series, though. I could see that being an issue here for the Islanders in this series as well. So the Islanders got to stay out of the penalty box. I think that's going to be critical if they want a chance to win this series. But as long as they stay out of the penalty box, they play their game. They play a boring Lou Lamoriello, Barry Trotz game, and they keep the shots to a minimum on Semyon Varlamov. I think the Islanders will get things done in 7 games against the Washington Capitals. So comment down below. What do you think of this matchup between the Islanders and the Capitals? Who do you think is going to win this series, and in how many games? Let me know down below. And if you like what we're doing here at Goal Line Hockey and want to see the latest news around the NHL, make sure to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe down below. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.